students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of BECC 132 Principles of Microeconomics 2. In today's session, we will discuss about efficiency of the market mechanism, market failure, and the role of the state. In previous session, we have discussed about market failure and why market become failure. We have studied about the causes of market failure. In today's session, we will discuss which type of market is efficient market and how we can measure this efficiency level and how we can define that what is the meaning of market mechanism and how market works and what are the various causes of market failure. This topic we have discussed in previous session. Now we will discuss in today's session the role of the state, how government intervention can control the market failure situation. So efficiency. What is the meaning of this efficiency? Efficiency means when resources are used optimally or ideally, that is called efficient use of resources. In market structure, efficiency exists when consumer and producer both gets benefit. If consumer surplus and producer surplus both exist in the market, that market is known as efficient market. But efficiency in allocation of resources exists only in case of perfect competition market. In monopoly, monopolistic competition, and oligopoly and other forms of market, always inefficiency exists. Or we can say that inefficient allocation of resources exist in other types of market except perfect competition. That's why monopoly, monopolistic competition are the main cause of market failure. So let us start from efficiency of the market. What is the meaning of market efficiency? A market is efficient if it executes all potential transactions that would benefit a buyer or consumer, a seller, a producer, and any third parties affected by the transactions. If we use all the available resources in such a way so that consumer, producer, and other third party would get benefit from these transactions. A market is called inefficient if there is an additional transaction that would benefit a buyer, a seller, and any third parties affected by the transaction. Inefficient market is that market in which either buyer can get benefit or seller can get benefit, but all will not get benefit. So efficiency exists when resources are allocated equally or efficiently, then market will be called efficient market. But inefficiency exists when resources are not allocated efficiently or equally. In this situation, either consumer can get benefit or producer can get benefit only, but not both will get benefit. For example, in case of monopoly, producer decide the price of the product because in monopoly only single seller exists and he has full control over price and quantity of the product. And monopoly firm is price maker, so monopoly can charge higher prices from the different consumers and monopoly firm can charge differentiated prices from the different consumers for the same product. So in this case, a seller or single seller will get surplus and maximum gain, but consumer have to sacrifice because consumer has to pay higher price for the same product. If consumer will pay more but get less, then consumer surplus will be less. So if producer surplus increases but consumer surplus falls, in this case, in a market deadweight loss situation occur, and this deadweight loss is the cause of market failure, or it is also known as inefficient allocation of resources. Same as in monopolistic competition market, where large number of buyers and sellers exist, and all sellers sells differentiated product, they are also price maker and they always decide higher price to get maximum profit. And in this case, seller has excess capacity, but seller not use his potential or excess capacity fully, so that the ideal output and the gap between profit maximizing output is called excess capacity. So excess capacity concept occur in case of monopolistic competition market. It's also the reason or main causes of market failure. Only perfect competition market is efficient market, because perfect competitive firms are not price maker, they are price taker. So price is always decided by the intersection of demand and supply curve or market forces, and the price which is decided by the industry's demand and supply curve intersection, that price is taken over by perfect competitive firms, and price remains always uniform or same for all types of product. In this case, consumer and producer both get benefit from the efficient allocation of resources. So perfect competition market is successful market because productive efficiency and consumption efficiency both exist in case of perfect competition market. So this is market efficiency and inefficiency. So if efficiency exists, then all potential transactions that would benefit a buyer, seller, and any third party affected by the transaction. But a market is inefficient if once market equilibrium is reached, there is an additional transactions that would benefit a buyer, seller, or a third party affected by the transactions. Next is allocative efficiency. Now, allocative efficiency is reached when no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off. According to Pareto, there is no way to make someone better off without making someone worse off. So, allocative efficiency exists when no one can be made better off without making someone else worse off. So, this is also known as Pareto efficiency because this concept was introduced by Pareto. Pareto was the great economist, and he explained the efficiency concept according to the allocation of resources. Here, this curve is showing that if we want to produce one commodity in large quantity, then we must have to sacrifice the other commodity. Like, for example, if we are producing more of X, then we have to sacrifice the units of Y. If we are producing X1 unit of beer, then output of cheese will fall. As well as output of beer or X product is decreasing, the output of cheese or Y product is increasing. So this is known as production possibility curve, or PPC curve. You know that PPC curve is always concave to the origin. It's not convex because marginal opportunity cost is always increasing. Or in other words, you can say that marginal rate of transformation, it is the rate at which we increase the unit of one commodity, then we must have to sacrifice the unit of other commodity in at an increasing rate. That's why marginal opportunity cost or marginal rate of transformation is always increasing. When MRT or MOC is increasing, then PPC curve slope will be always concave, not convex. So allocative efficiency occurs when the value that consumers place on a good or services reflected in the price they are willing and able to pay equals the cost of the factor resources used up in production. The main condition required for allocative efficiency in a given market is that market price must be equal to marginal cost of supply. So all points on this PPC or PPF, PPC is production possibility curve and PPF means production possibility frontier. Both are same. These are the alternative names of a production possibility curve. Production possibility curve is known as production possibility boundary, production possibility frontier, and transformation curve. And all points which lies on this curve shows efficient allocation of resources or fully utilization of resources. But if any point lies inside this curve, that will show underutilization of resources, and if any point lies outside this curve, that will show overutilization of resources. The point which lies on the PPC curve, that will show efficient allocation of resources. So all points that lie on the PPF are allocatively efficient because we can't produce more of one output without affecting the amount of other product. As well as we increase the unit of X commodity, we must have to sacrifice the unit of Y commodity, and the slope is always concave to the origin. So this is allocative efficiency, in which if we want to make someone better off, there is no way to make someone better off without making someone worse off according to Pareto. Next is allocative efficiency using a price theory diagram. Here economic efficiency means making optimum or maximum use of scarce or limited resources. We know that resources are always available in limited quantity, but wants are unlimited. Economic efficiency exists at that time when we use scarce resources in an optimally or in an efficient manner. If resources are used efficiently or optimally, then consumer surplus and producer surplus both will arise and both will occur. For example, here this diagram is showing that downward sloping curve is known as demand curve and upward sloping curve is known as supply curve. Where demand curve, which is always downward sloping curve because it shows inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. And supply curve is always upward sloping curve because it shows positive and direct relationship between price and supply. Where both curve intersect each other, equilibrium point is determined. At this equilibrium point is S. Here the above portion which lies this above this equilibrium point is known as consumer surplus, and the below portion of this equilibrium point is known as producer surplus. Now what is consumer surplus? Consumer surplus concept was introduced by Marshall, Alfred Marshall. According to Marshall, consumer surplus arises when consumer is willing to pay more but actually pay less. The difference between willingness to pay and the actual payment for the commodity is called consumer surplus. Here, consumer is willing to pay R price. This R point is showing that consumer is willing to pay this much price, but actually consumer is paying OP price. It means consumer is paying less price but willing to pay more price. So the gap between willingness to pay and the actual pay is known as consumer surplus. And producer, where the supply curve start from the y-axis Q, here producer is expecting this much price, but producer is getting this OP equilibrium price. It means producer was expecting that he will get less price, but actually producer is getting higher price. So the gap between the price which he is expecting and the price which he actually taking, the difference is called producer surplus. So only in perfect competition market these both surpluses occur. So allocative efficiency is at an point which maximize total consumer welfare. At the market equilibrium, where demand curve and supply curve intersect each other, consumer surplus and producer surplus both will be maximized in this situation. At this output, economic welfare will also be maximized. Next is market failure. Market is failure when allocative inefficiency exists. Allocative efficiency referred to as Pareto efficient allocation. Resources can't be readjusted to make one consumer better off without making another worse off. In this case, opportunity cost will be zero. This was explained by Wilfredo Pareto during the time period of 1848. That Alfred Wilfredo Pareto time period is 1848 to 1923. And Pareto explained the allocative efficiency concept. And efficiency always arises when resources are used in such a way that we are making one consumer situation better off without making another worse off. In this case, opportunity cost will be zero, and this is known as Pareto efficient allocation. Next is types of efficiency. What are the various types of efficiency? Efficiency are generally three types. One is operational efficiency, next is informational efficiency, and third is allocational efficiency. First is operational efficiency. The process of buying and selling securities is fast, accurate, and of low cost. This mechanism for transaction is called operational efficiency. Any process of buying and selling of goods and services, if this system is very fast, accurate, and if producer is able to produce more goods at a lower cost, it means in an operational sense, producer is more efficient. And if consumer is buying more goods at lower price, then consumer will also called efficient. So in both cases, operational efficiency exists. Next is efficiency. Informational efficiency exists at that time when buyer and seller both have perfect information related to the market conditions, then they can manage uh, their self according to the situation which exists in the market. So if information is properly available to buyer and seller, then both can get benefit from getting information or reliable information. In this case, informational efficiency concept will exist. And third case is allocational efficiency. Allocational efficiency exists at that time when resources are allocated efficiently or optimally. In this case, consumer surplus and producer surplus both will exist. So allocational efficiency means like capital or money, if it is allocated to those users who can use it more efficiently. This depends on operational efficiency. So there is an easy flow of funds and informational efficiency. So people know what is going on and what investment deserves their cash. So allocational efficiency depends upon operational efficiency and informational efficiency. So allocational efficiency is the combination of other two types of efficiency. So these are the three types of efficiency. Next is the market mechanism. How market mechanism works. Market mechanism, or in a free market economy, how price of the product is determined. It's very simple to determine the price under in a free market situation or in a market mechanism. Always determine the price level with the help of demand curve and supply curve intersection. Here demand curve is always downward sloping curve and supply curve is always upward sloping curve. Where both curve intersect each other, equilibrium point is determined. At this equilibrium point, equilibrium price will be OP0 and the quantity will be OQ0. So if price is above equilibrium, then surplus situation will arise, because at higher price we know that producer will be willing to sell more but demand will be less. So at higher price surplus situation will occur, and at lower price demand will be higher but supply will be less due to the inverse relationship between demand and price. If price is less, demand will be more, but there is a direct relationship between price and supply. If price will be less, supply will be less. So if price falls from the equilibrium point, then shortage situation will arise, because supply will be less but demand will be more. So if a surplus situation or shortage situation arises, both will be the example of inefficiency. But equilibrium will always determine where demand and supply curve intersect each other. So here, if price is above the market clearing price, then quantity supply will be greater than quantity demanded. In this case, if price falls to the market clearing price, then quantity demanded will be greater than quantity supply. Both are unstable situation, but the stable situation is equilibrium price. So this is the diagram which is showing that how market mechanism works, or how market determine the price of the product and the quantity of the product under a free market system. Now next is main functions of the price mechanism. In an economy like UK, many decisions on how to resolve the issue of opportunity cost and trade-offs resolved by prices. UK economy and US economy are capitalist economies, and under capitalist economy, government intervention is always remains less. So price is determined through the mechanism of market forces of demand and supply curve. And what are the main functions of price mechanism? First is allocate. Price mechanism allocate scarce resources among competing uses. Second is rationing. Price serves to ration scarce resources when market demand outstrips supply. At that time, rationing system can be used by the market system. If prices serve to ration scarce resources, we know that resources are scarce. If resources are in shortage and demand is more, if demand outstrips supply, in this case, government intervention will be necessary and rationing system will be followed by government. Next is signaling. Prices adjusted to demonstrate where resources are required and where they are not. If resources are available in one place in a larger quantity and on the other place in a smaller quantity, then prices can adjust to demonstrate resources, and resources can be shifted from one place to another place to establish the equilibrium level. Next is incentives. Incentives, for example, when the price of a product rises, quantity supplied increases as businesses respond. In this case, due to rise in price, producer will get incentive to produce more. When producer will produce more, then employment opportunities will also increase, and employment opportunities will leads to increase in income level, and income level leads to increase in demand of the product. So in this case, price mechanism work efficiently. So these are the main functions of price mechanism. Next is efficiency and production example. How efficiency exists in case of production or in case of consumption? What are the conditions of efficiency under production? From the PPC, we know that marginal cost of X upon marginal cost of Y is equals to MRT, marginal rate of transformation. Or in other words, we can say that MRT is equals to delta Y upon delta X, or loss of Y upon gain of X, where the marginal cost of X commodity or marginal cost of Y product, the ratio of these two products cost is equals to MRT for both the products XY, then efficiency exists in case of production market. We can therefore reinterpret Pareto efficiency as MCX upon MCY is equals to marginal rate of substitution XY for A consumer is equals to MRS XY for B consumer. If we assume that there are two consumers like A and B, or two persons A and B, the marginal rate of substitution of A consumer will be equals to marginal rate of substitution of B person must be equals to MCS upon MCX upon MCY. This is known as Pareto efficiency. Next is production efficiency. Production efficiency occurs when it is not possible to produce more of one good or services without producing less of something else. The necessary conditions for productive efficiency is: one is full employment of all available factors of production. If resources are fully employed without wasting or without unnecessary use of that resources, if resources are fully utilized, that is called efficiency under production of a commodity. Next is each resource is employed in the task in which it performs comparatively better than other resources. So, if resources are employed in that work in which the resource performance is comparatively much better than other resources, then production efficiency concept will exist. So production efficiency occurs when it is not possible to produce one commodity in a larger quantity and other commodity in a lesser quantity. Like PPC curve shows, if we increase one commodity's production, then we must have to sacrifice other commodities production. Why? Its reason is resources are scarce and we can ideally or optimally use all the available resources so that we can fully utilize the available resources. If we are fully utilizing the resources, then efficiency will exist. And these two are the necessary conditions of productive efficiency. One is full employment of all available factors of production. Factors of productions are four: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. And each resources is employed in the task or in any work in which it performs comparatively better than the other resources. Next is efficiency in production. How efficiency in production can be explained with the help of this Edgeworth box. This box is known as Edgeworth box, where two commodities are taken. One is X and other is Y. Now, one product is X and other product is Y, and I is isoquant. Isoquant shows different combinations of different combinations of two factors of production, which gives same level of output to the producer. The possible allocation of fixed amount of inputs. Inputs are generally we take two. One is labor and other is capital. To produce X and Y. And X and Y, these two goods are consumer goods. And the factors of productions are two: labor and capital. So this is isoquant curve, which is always downward sloping curve from left to right. Here I by 1, it means isoquant for Y product is here, and other is I by 0. Here 2 isoquant curve for Y commodity has drawn, and next is isoquant for X commodity. This is also convex to the origin. If we, this Edgeworth box here, Y is an horizontal way. So this I by 0 and I by 1 is the two isoquant curve, which are representing the different combinations of two factors of production, which are giving the same amount of output to the producer for X commodity, Y commodity. But if we reverse this situation and go there at x-axis, then we will draw Ix, it means isoquant for X commodity and isoquant for X, another X commodity. These 2 points where Ix is intersecting I by 0, here we get one point A. At this A point, and another point is where I by 1 is tangent to this Ix, isoquant for X commodity. That point is called B point. So these 2 points, which are lies on this 2 isoquant curves, that point are showing efficiency in production. In B, the marginal rate of technical substitution are equal. So where MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution for X commodity, is equals to marginal rate of technical substitution for Y commodity where both are equal, then efficiency in production will arise. This is known as Pareto efficiency, and we can show efficiency in production with the help of this Edgeworth box. Next is productive efficiency. We can show productive efficiency in such a way that productive efficiency occurs when a company's output is product at minimum cost or minimum average cost. Average cost curve is known as average total cost or AC or ATC. AC curve is always U-shaped curve because it is based on two things. One is AC is the summation of AFC and ABC, and second is due to the applicability of law of variable proportion in the beginning when production increases and increasing returns to factor stage is applicable, then cost will start diminishing. After that, when production is constant or maximum, then cost will be minimum. And at last, when production starts, cost will rise. Output, if output is increasing, but simultaneously cost is also increasing, that will not be called efficient level of output. Because efficient level of output will be exist where cost will be minimized and production will be maximized. So productive efficiency means that producer minimize their wastage of resources used in the production process. Now next is any point which lies inside this curve, that will be Pareto inefficient point. If any point lies outside this curve, that will also Pareto inefficient point, but only those points which lies on this curve, that will be called Pareto efficiency. Next is social efficiency. The socially efficient level of output or consumption occurs when marginal social benefit is equals to marginal social cost. Marginal social benefit curve is always downward sloping curve. Marginal social cost curve is always upward sloping curve. They both curve intersect each other. Here social optimum output is determined. At this equilibrium point where MSB intersects MSC, this is social optimum output level. And where marginal private benefit curve is also downward sloping curve, and marginal private cost curve is also upward sloping curve. Same as marginal social cost curve, upward sloping curve, marginal private cost curve, upward sloping curve, but the benefit curve of private and social is always downward sloping curve. Where marginal private cost and marginal private benefit intersect each other, this is the point of private optimum level. But if we want to determine the social optimum level or whole society's efficiency level, then where MSB or MSC both have intersect each other, then social optimum level can be achieved. So the existence of negative externality and positive externality, it means that the private level of consumption or production differ from the social optimum level. The free market price mechanism does not always take into account social cost and benefit. So if we want to determine the social efficiency level, then we must have to draw this externality concept, positive or negative. If we take both the positive and negative externalities situations, then we can determine the social optimum level. Next is allocative efficiency and productive efficiency. How they are interrelated with each other and how we can show these two types of efficiency. One is allocative and other is productive. with the help of diagrams. Here, allocative efficiency, this is generally we can show with the help of demand and supply curve intersection. Where demand curve and supply curve intersect each other, consumer surplus and producer surplus both will arise. So this is called allocative efficiency, but it exists only in case of perfect competition market, not in monopoly and not in monopolistic competition market. So in allocative efficiency market, allocative efficiency concept in this where the price is P1 and the quantity produced is Q1. Here resources are allocated efficiently and both producers and consumer surplus are maximized. Any other allocation would produce a quantity greater than or lesser than Q1. It will reduce the wealth that comes from producing this product. So because producer and consumer surplus would be reduced. If producer and consumer surplus will be reduced, then this will not be called allocative efficiency. Allocative efficiency only arises when both surpluses will exist in the economy. Next is productive efficiency. Now, productive efficiency we can explain with the help of this cost curve. You know that average cost curve is also always U-shaped curve, and MC always cuts AC at its lowest point, and MC remains always lower than AC curve. When AC falls, MC falls before than AC. When AC rises, MC rises before than AC, and where MC intersects AC curve, that is the lowest cost point. At this lowest cost point, productive efficiency exists because producers always aim is to maximize his profit and minimize the cost of production. So in a purely competitive industry, the price a producer will receive in the long run is a price P1. This is the price that just touches the lowest point of the average cost curve. This means that there are no pure economic profit, and it means that producers are using the fewest resources necessary to produce each goods. No resources are being wasted. Production is done efficiently. If production is done efficiently, cost is minimum, output is maximum, and resources are using very efficiently by the producer, then this productive efficiency concept will exist. Next is product mix efficiency. How we can show this product mix efficiency? Product mix efficiency is the mixture of production efficiency and consumption efficiency. So if a marginal rate of substitution for A consumer is equals to marginal rate of substitution for B consumer, slopes of individual indifference curve are the same. This is the PPC curve, production possibility curve, and this downward sloping curve is indifference curve, where indifference curve is tangent to this PPC curve. At this B point is the equilibrium point. At this EB point, the marginal rate of transformation is equals to marginal rate of substitution for A consumer and marginal rate of substitution for B consumer. So this is the production mix efficiency. Here production efficiency is showing by PPC curve and consumer efficiency is showing by indifference curve, because indifference curve shows different combinations of two goods that gives same level of satisfaction to the consumer. So this is the product mix efficiency concept, where PPC is tangent to this IC curve or indifference curve. The rate of MRT is equals to rate of marginal rate of transformation of for labor is equals to MRT of capital is equals to MRS of A consumer is equals to MRS for B consumer. This is the equilibrium condition. Next is market failure and government intervention. Why government intervention is necessary and when market become failure? The market does not operate in this ideal way. It's not necessary that market always get this efficient level of production and allocation. Sometimes allocative efficiency and productive efficiency exist, but not necessarily always. So the market does not operate in this ideal way. So market failure prevents optimal uses or optimal outcomes. In this situation, government may intervene in this situation for two ways. One is antitrust law. By making this antitrust law, antitrust law means government intervention can alter market structure or prevent abuse of market power. Government can control market power. Government can restrict concentration of economic power. When government can restrict monopoly power, then market can prevent from failure. Next is regulations. Regulation, government sets some rules and regulations regarding fixing the price of the product, output of the product, and advertising. In this case, government can prevent or government intervention can control the market failure situation. Next is market failure. You know that market failure is a situation when we are not able to achieve efficient outcome or that level of outcome which is socially optimum or desirable. The difference between a socially optimum level of production and the market level of production, the gap in between of these two concepts is called market failure. In a free market economy where demand and supply curve fix the price of the product without any intervention of the government, in a free market economy, it is sometimes possible for individual parties to work out a solution, but government intervention is needed. When government intervention is needed, government intervention is needed when property rights are unclear, when the number of people concerned is large, and when bargaining costs are high. In these three situations, government can intervene into the market and government can prevent this market failure situation. So market fails because it does not allocate resources efficiently or properly. Next is market failures, government intervention, and government failures. Market failure, there are so many causes of market failure. When market is not achieve his set targets or the goals which is decided, then market become failure. There are so many causes of market failure like public goods, externality, and natural monopoly, and asymmetric information or incomplete information or moral hazard and imperfect competition market is also known as market failure. So there are so many causes like public goods, externality, natural monopoly, and information asymmetry is the causes of market failure. And how government intervention or government can intervene in the market through rules and regulation. Government can set some rules and regulations for preventing this market failure situation. Government can impose taxes higher on those sellers who are producing more pollution, and government can provide subsidies for providing positive externality, because we know that externality is the effect of one person action on the others. It may be positive, it may be negative. If in case of negative externality, government can impose more taxes on producers, and in case of positive externality, government can give subsidies to the producer. Next is government can impose direct provision. Government can make direct provisions, nationalization, stockpiling, and civil and criminal laws. Some government can make so many. State also can intervene in the market situation and prevent this market failure. But sometimes government intervention is not sufficient to control this market failure situation. Sometimes government also become failure by rent seeking, regulatory capture, inefficiency or implementation problems or agency loss. This is the main cause of government failure. Next is government intervention in market desirable? Yes, in market situation or complete or proper uh, market mechanism, if we want to establish complete or good market mechanism system, then government intervention is really desirable. Economics that follow PIGU suggest that government intervention can improve social welfare because Pigu explained or introduced social welfare theory. Economics that follow Coase theorem say government intervention is unnecessary and may encourage compensation seeking or rent seeking behavior. So, economics like PIGU suggest that government intervention can improve social welfare, but on the other hand, the economics of Coase, which give Coase theorem, say that government intervention is unnecessary and may encourage compensation seeking or rent seeking. However, many assumptions of the Coase theorem are likely to be broken. Consideration must be given for the option of government intervention, but the cost of intervention must be compared with benefit. If the cost of intervention is less and the benefit from government intervention is higher, then government intervention in market is desirable. But if the cost of intervention is higher and the benefit of the intervention is lower, then government intervention will not be desirable. So these are the reason behind that the government intervention either it is desirable or not. Next is types of government intervention. Government intervention can be directly or government can directly intervene in the market and direct production of environmental quality, reforestation of degraded farmland or prevention is better than we know that prevention is better than cure. So if government directly intervene in the market and encourage reforestation of uh, degraded farmland or prevention, take some prevention steps. In this case, market failure can be stopped. And moral social and direct production likely to be limited use in addressing major environmental problems like global warming, pollution preventing strategies. Government always make those industries who pollute the environment, government can put more taxes on that industrial unit, and uh, on the other hand, government can give subsidies to those who are securing or who are preventing the environment. For example, research collaboration between government universities and private sector to develop new technologies and extension programs with farmers in developing countries to learn more efficient production technologies. So pollution prevention, government can make some strategies to address market failure related to imperfect information. If there is an imperfect information exists, then market signaling and government intervention can prevent this problem of imperfect information. Next is types of government intervention. Government can intervention in a five broad classes. We can classify government intervention in five broad categories. One is moral suasion, in which government morally pressurize or uh, morally give some suggestions to the industrial unit or society to prevent the environment and to use the resources in a optimal way or in an efficient way so that market failure can be controlled. Next is direct production of environmental quality. Next is pollution prevention. Next is command and control regulations. We know that government has full control over the resources and command. Government can give command and government can control the bad things by making some strict laws for that. Next is economic incentives. Economic incentives can be provided by the government to encourage good activities in a market and to stop bad activities. So each of these represents a different philosophy towards the role of government in society. Next is government intervention. How government can intervene? Taxes, through subsidy, and through transfer payment. Taxes are a compulsory payment to the government, which everyone has to pay to the government, and subsidy is a payment by government to firms to keep cost low. And transfer payments are also known as unilateral payments. Unilateral payments means one-sided payments like gifts, donation, scholarship, old age pension. So transfer payments is a payment made by the government with nothing in return. So government intervention can be used by these three ways. One is by imposing more taxes on in case of negative externality. Government can provide subsidies in case of positive externality, and government can give transfer payments or unilateral payments or one-sided payment without taking anything in return. Next is positive externality. In case of positive externality, you know that in case of positive externality, we draw marginal private benefit curve and marginal social benefit curve and marginal private cost curve. Here is the area of social welfare loss because we have not drawn marginal social cost curve. If marginal social cost curve and marginal social benefit curve both are drawn, then we can determine the social optimum level. But if we have drawn only marginal private benefit curve, downward sloping, marginal social benefit curve also downward but above the marginal private benefit curve, and marginal private cost curve where both curve intersect each other, marginal private cost and marginal social benefit curve. This is the area of social welfare loss because the market output is Q1, which is the lower than the socially efficient level. Next is, in case of negative externality, we draw marginal private social benefit curve, marginal private benefit curve, and marginal social cost curve, where marginal social cost curve intersects marginal private benefit curve at this point. Here, MPC is equals to MSC. MPC is marginal private cost is equals to marginal social cost. If marginal private benefit curve is equals to marginal social cost curve, then deadweight loss of social welfare occur. Now we can conclude from the today's session that market power, externality, public goods, and incomplete information create a potential role of government in the marketplace to remedy market failure. And government presence create rent-seeking incentives which may undermine its ability to improve matters. Thank you.